I've been an appointment setter for the last 3 years, and more recently I've gone all in on coaching other girls and have helped over 30 girls land remote roles in appointment setting, multiple industries as well. And it's something I'm really passionate about, really enjoy. But this is probably the most candid video I've ever done, and it's really just going into this misconception of coaching and investing in mentorship online. I've definitely been guilty of having this misconception of essentially investing in something and thinking, oh well, I'm going to get a return on that investment, but maybe stepping back from doing the work. And this is where I'm going to be really candid and honest. The first time I had this experience was about 4 or 5 years ago. I was working remotely from Manchester, and at the time my job was very much relaxed because it was COVID, no one was in the office. It had sort of been that remote working period where everyone was wiggling their mouse, their laptop mouse. I was living with my ex-boyfriend at the time. He worked in recruitment, so he was gone from like 7:30 to 6:30 every day. So it meant that I had a lot of free time on my hands and started looking into side hustles, investigating how I could make money online. And because he told me that I would be bad at sales, I never started looking into remote sales, which is really bad. I advise everyone to not do that and listen to a boyfriend. But I actually, on the down low, I didn't tell anyone I was doing this. I thought it was so embarrassing because I'm not one to have a bit of a trainer obsession or anything. And I invested in this coach that I'd seen online who basically had a Telegram group, and you'd pay a fee and you'll be added to this Telegram group, and then you can understand where to source trainers and how to resell them. At the time, I remember I really wanted a pair of Jordans and I literally couldn't find any for the life of me. This was 6 years ago, this can't have been 5. And then it's like, how did I think that I had the motivation and the drive to follow through with this business when I couldn't even source trainers that I liked myself, that everyone had at the time? So that was on me. But obviously got into this Telegram group. It's full of all these guys, like no one, and then I saw not many people are actually making money yet. There wasn't much support, and I sort of took a backseat. There was no clear pathway. It was a rubbish thing to invest in, to be frank. But at the same time, I definitely didn't give it a fair shot myself. So that's investment number one, where I thought I'll invest in it and I'll get everything back. More recently, this was last year, I'd rescued a dog in Bali. I wanted to fly her to the UK, which I did successfully do. But I was really stressing about finances at the time, and I'd launched the coaching, but I was appointment setting whilst coaching alongside it. And a lot of the people that were coming to me for the coaching were through my network, friends of friends, word of mouth, and I was quite happy to keep it that way. But ultimately, I knew it was something that I wanted to grow. I knew I had the experience, I had the results. So I knew that I just needed to invest in a good coach, a good mentor to help like create a pathway essentially for me to follow and actually make that happen. So I invested in Soul Hide at the Three Fingers Club, and I still work with him today on it. Honestly, a great investment, but I'm going to tell you where it did go slightly wrong and where the misconception is, or my misconception was. So when you invest in an online business mentor or a coach online, you see these results and you're like, that's going to be me. And it is, but you have to put in the work. So when I first invested in Soul's mentorship, I was obviously really quite terrified because I'd taken all my savings and put it in there. And the first 2 months I got significant results. I increased the revenue that was coming in from my coaching significantly and was really, really pleased. Then I obviously used all of that money to enjoy my summer, Euro summer, get the dog back to Bali, and that meant that my inputs went down significantly from where I had been working non-stop on building my offer, building my personal brand, to enjoying life, putting up stories, putting up posts, but not even appointment setting from my own account, which is really bad. I cannot believe I did it myself. And then it meant that I wasn't attending community calls. I wasn't getting the results that I wanted from Soul. We get to August and I get a text saying, okay, so you've got about 6 weeks left in the program. We really want to have a one-to-one. We really want you to attend more of the calls. And I thought, so So then I literally did 30 days on YouTube for the whole of September, because that's a massive part of like getting across, I guess, your personality, what you're actually working on. For me, those 30 days were incredibly helpful and insightful for my own development, just because I think I got way more used to chatting to the camera, where every day I wouldn't necessarily plan it, which isn't the best either, but that's ADHD for you. I'd just wake up and get on and then yap away at what I was working on, my experience in appointment setting. But it meant that I had this period where I was like, okay, now let me go back all in, because I'm running out of money from the coaching and I did want to take this seriously. And ultimately it meant that come October, I picked up another appointment setting client for stability, because I hadn't been seeing the results that I had imagined I'd get from investing in this mentorship at the start. So that's really candid, I guess, going into my experience, and I guess where I'm really disappointed in myself for lacking that drive during that period. At the time after that, I did like have a lot of stuff going on with an ADHD diagnosis. I was coming off antidepressants. So then I did go quiet again for a few months, but this is exactly why I've reinvested in the Free Thinkers Club now, to hold me accountable, to be around this community and actually have that motivation, to ignite that drive, ignite that passion, and put in the inputs that I need to drive the outputs that I'm looking for, which outcomes I think it might be, but which is obviously to grow this academy, to get all of these girls into remote work, whether it be a side hustle, whether it be onboarding clients and making this into a full-time role. And I am honestly loving it at the moment. I think because of that period, it's actually given me a bigger passion for when I see the girls that come into my academy and they've obviously invested in appointment setting. They want this to happen. They want remote work to be their life. But they do the exact same thing that I did with Soul last year, which is I wouldn't reply to the weekly check-ins because I was on holiday or busy, and then I'd be thinking, oh, I don't need to do that. Let me focus on delivering the product or service that I'm delivering for, not product or service, the service that I'm delivering for the girls that are currently in my academy, rather than having to entertain the mentor that I paid with. And I see it now in my academy today, and it really grinds me up the wrong way, because I know that they're going to regret it in the exact same way that I do. And that just means that I'm really passionate about holding the girls that come in and work with me accountable with the weekly check-ins, with making sure that they are attending the community calls. I keep on upping my community calls to make sure that there's no time zone excuse. We're doing 2 different time zones, accommodating people that are in the 9 to 5, accommodating people that are across the world in Australia. So just making sure that I can do everything I can to limit the objections for why they're not putting in the work. And today, the reason that I'm motivated to put through this message is I've just sent a text to one of the girls who has invested in the coaching. I know that it's her dream, it's her goal. She's always on the move, always traveling. She's just come back from South America, now she's in Italy. And she sort of said, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, I'm not sure whether this is for me. But when I've tried to follow up and get in a one-to-one and just alleviate this stress, get her on the right roadmap, answer wherever she is, I think it's so normal to get a bit of a roadblock when you're starting off and be like, can I do this? But it's so important to really engage in the mentorship that you've invested in. So the message that I've sent now has been very much like, I just want to address the elephant in the room. I'm sending a lot of messages, and I understand like you're sending quick text replies, but I really need you to be engaged in order to get you these results, because it feels like we're misaligned in the directions that we're going, where I'm really passionate about keeping such high levels of communication, sending over the roles, supporting her with job applications. But because I'm now not getting much response, it's at the point where I'm not in a position to refer her to people to my network to be an appointment setter, because I need people that are going to take it seriously for me to refer, as they will then get the results. I know that they've done the training. We need almost like, I guess it's a bit of a ad hoc graduation service when I am going to actually refer them to people through my network for a role. So it's something that no one really talks about, and I guess before my experience, I wouldn't have even believed. Like, I remember my dad saying when I was investing in the mentorship last year, are you sure like you're going to be able to get these results? Are you sure you can do it? And I was like, yes, I'm going to have a roadmap. I'm going to make sure that I deliver on every single thing he says. And I did for 2 months, and then I started slowing down, and it's just so common. I think that's why now my program is 6 months, because having people tap in and tap out when they want doesn't really work. Whereas when you have got that time limit, like me in the last month of the mentorship last year, and I was like, right, I'm going to do everything that he said, but I'm going to do it every single day. So like more than what, it was supposed to be 1 long form week, and I did 1 a day. So having that sort of time frame to keep you aligned, to keep you working towards the goal works really well. And obviously even investing in yourself, that's the biggest motivation, because if anything, you want to earn that investment back. So I guess I just wanted to be really candid, because it's something that I struggle with myself, and that's why I am really confident with when I am coaching the girls where they're a bit timid, they're a bit like, will this work? I know that I am a great person for everyone to lean on and say, can I just have a 10-minute chat? Can I talk to you? Because I understand the exact position all of these girls that are coming into remote work are in, because I've done the same. And also when it comes to scaling and onboarding multiple clients, thinking about whether you want to start your own agency, actually navigating that, making them aware of the sort of roadblocks that they might face, how they can overcome them, how they can make sure that they follow the same purpose, that they are like creating something that they can scale. So yeah, so I think that's what I wanted. And I guess as well, I really appreciate when people are honest about these things online. I saw potentially the most confronting thing the other day, which, like I say, this is a boundary that I have been working on breaking myself. In 2026, this is my goal, to have this unlimited mindset. I'm working towards goals that last year even I would have thought were out of reach. And it's something that I'm really knocking into the girls in my academy. I'm not gonna lie, I saw probably the most confronting statement I've ever seen, but that's a bit dramatic, but a really confronting statement the other day on someone within my network's Instagram stories, and it said that a girl can win a client or onboard a client, and her mentality is, what do I have coming up, what do I want to afford, and how many clients do I need to onboard in a month to do that. And say for me, if I was to onboard, let's say 3 clients, because that fulfilled everything that I was working towards, but then I was thinking, okay, so I could actually just work for this amount of hours per week, but to fulfill this. I definitely have been guilty of that in the past, and I'm gonna admit that, especially when I first went into coaching. Whereas for guys, they could onboard a client, think, okay, I've onboarded a client within this time frame. This is going to be the maximum time frame that I am going to spend onboarding a client, so I can get 20 clients within a month. And I thought, do you know what? I wouldn't actually disagree with what's been said there, because I know that I probably have a more limited mindset than a lot of my male counterparts. Again, not anymore, I'm working on it, but it's something that I am stressing, honestly, every time we're on a community call at the moment. I'm like, well, why aren't you doing X, Y, Z? What, like, how do you feel about this? What are you working towards? And making sure that these girls have the most outrageous goals, because you can fulfill anything that you put your mind to, especially in the online business space. There's so much opportunity. So watch this space. It's a big year, and I thought I'd just be completely candid and honest. I want to make sure that that story is no longer my reality, and none of the girls in my academy's reality as well.